Assalamu alaikum. My name is Azam Tariq, and these are my group members. The topic of our presentation is the new financial system, and the topic assigned for me is the history of world economic system. Let's start from beginning. World War One. In World War One, almost all parts of the world are affected from this war, and the war was between the Central Power and Allied powers, and they are going down economically as well as military, but the United States was going up, and United States take benefit from this war and control Europe completely. From 1919 to 1929, these between these 10 ages, these are known as the roaring 20s for United States. They are growing up and their GDP was high, their employment rate was high, but in October 1929, a Great Depression was happening in the United States. Their stock exchange market was crashed, and people stopped investing in the stock exchange, and the trade was going down. People become unemployed, and at the end of the Great Depression, almost 15 million people were unemployed. In 1930, a British economist Keynesians gave a theory to understand the Great Depression, and he suggested that the state should intervene in the matter of markets. There should be a proper policies, as well as rules, regulations, proper monetary system on the economy, market, and a state should fight for employment. He also suggested that there should be lower tax system for proper tax structure in the country. In 1939, World War II was started. A world was setting a new stage for war, and this war brought a new benefits for United States. Rising up. In 1940, in 1940, the unemployment rate in United States was 14.6%, but at the end of war for 1944, the unemployment rate was only 1.2%, and their GDP was double. Thank you.
I am Arsalan Hussain, and I will be explaining upon some major events occurred in the world history which ultimately have a great impact on the world economic order. First of all, the Bretton Woods system. It was basically an agreement which took place among 44 allied nations in 1944 in US at Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. It was basically introduced to avoid trade wars and among these nations, and nations were sought to maintain fixed exchange rate. After Great Depression in 1929, these countries thought to create a system which facilitate international trade and stable global economic system. But Bretton Woods system ultimately replaced the gold standard with the US dollar to the world economy, and which eventually dominate US in terms of global economy. Bretton Woods system was ultimately collapsed in 1971 due to some major reasons. These reasons may be the US violation of rules in 1965 to follow monetary and fiscal policies with the official peg, and the stagflation which occurred in 1971 at US. Now the Bretton Woods institutions as IMF and World Bank. Bretton Woods system could not have worked properly without the IMF and World Bank, and these institutions are considered as Bretton Woods institution because the agreement ultimately led to the development of these two institutions. These two are basically US-backed organization to monitor global economic order. These two institutions provide major loans to member nations to strengthen their economy, in which IMF mainly focus on macroeconomics and world economy by promoting international monetary cooperation, and it advised the world nations to develop strong economies in terms of policy. World Bank was initially designed to lend money to European countries which were hardly smashed by World War II, but its aim was changed over time to promote long-term economic development and poverty reduction by technical and financial support. Now, globalization has greatly impacted the world economic order and global economy. Globalization is the integration of cultures, governments, businesses, and other organizations through international trade in one single frame. Globalization has revolutionized the whole world system, as now world is considered as the global village due to the advancement of communication and transportation, and the compression of time space has been occurred. Silk Road can be considered as the major example of milestone in globalization in ancient civilization, which connect the trade routes between Europe, Africa, and Asian states. Globalization also benefit the world or national economy in terms of foreign direct investment and technological innovation, which eventually contribute in the growth of economy. Globalization also benefited the national economy in realizing economies of scale by large companies in any state, which ultimately led to economic growth. So these were the major events and the institutions which has impacted the world economic order, and these ultimately these and revolutionized the whole world economic order. Thank you so much.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Hassan and my topic is digital economy. In this slide, we're going to talk about what is digital economy. So the digital economy is the worldwide network of economic activities enabled by information and communication technology (ICT). Or we can just simply define it as an economy based on digital technology. There are three main components of digital economy. Number one is e-business infrastructure. It consists of hardware, software, human capital, etc. Number second is e-business. It is about how business is conducted, any process that a company conducts or computer networks. Number third is e-commerce. It means the buying and selling of goods or the transfer of money or data using the internet. So despite its benefits, there are some problems of digital economy. It has become dominated by firms with monopoly power, for example Google, Facebook, etc. It has also created problems related to our environment, loss of physical interaction, and our privacy issues. For example, in 2018, Facebook was accused of selling data of 87 million users. So let's discuss the pros and cons of digital economy. When we talk about pros of digital economy, it has enabled consumer to use internet to have a wide range of information and choice, which saves time and reduces business labor costs and material prices. In this pandemic, it has also enabled people from developing countries like India, Pakistan to work from their homes, thus reducing the risk of infection. So in this slide, we are going to talk about digital currency. So digital economy has enabled the advent of digital currency. So what is digital currency? It is an internet-based medium of exchange distinct from physical currency that exhibits similar properties but allows instant transactions and borderless transfer of ownership. While cryptocurrency is a digital currency which uses cryptography to regulate the generation of units and currency and verify the transfer of funds. In 2008, Bitcoin was created as the first cryptocurrency. After that, there were other cryptocurrencies which are known as altcoins such as Tron, Ripple, Stellar. The last slide, we are going to see which countries are focusing on digital economy. Estonia has created Estonia, which provides schools with digital classroom experiences and where basic programming education such as coding is taught from very young age. And in countries like Kenya, Konza Technology City is under construction, where mobile money is used by almost 15 million users due to M-Pesa. In Sri Lanka, almost 800 telecenters are established to connect farmers and students to get information and learn new trading ways. In China, which is home to world's largest Bitcoin mine due to its abundant and cheap electricity and the country accounting to over 95% of the total trade volume at one time. Market capitalization of Bitcoin in China is around 9.2 billion US dollars, which shows Chinese domination in Bitcoin market. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum, I'm Hamza and I'm going to cover the next question, which is how digital financial system and digital currencies can be beneficial for third world countries. or for developing countries. So, in this era of globalization, when world has become a global village, we are also living in a huge global market. Anyone from any country can sell his services online and can get international rates for his services. I'll mainly focus on e-commerce website Amazon, but first let me explain you about services. When someone sells his services in UK while sitting in Pakistan, he needs to transfer money. But here comes the problem, because such transactions include huge taxes and a long, tedious process. But this can be done easily with one click using digital currency. So it can be beneficial for people living in third world countries due to the huge gap between the value of both currencies. So now coming back to Amazon, Amazon is a company which is owned by Jeff Bezos. I'll explain his website, Amazon website, Amazon e-commerce website, which is currently doing business of $550 billion per annum. Out of these $550 billion, Amazon sells more than 250 billion dollars in US. It is believed that the people in US spend more than the 2 out of $5 on Amazon. Though Amazon doesn't work in Pakistan and doesn't allow Pakistani sellers to sell on Amazon, but still Pakistani sellers sell on Amazon using international accounts and earn more than $350 million per year. But it can be increased up to many billion dollars if Amazon allows digital currency. One can sell in Pakistan, in US while sitting in Pakistan. So it can be very beneficial for business community of developing countries. For a seller in Pakistan, seller needs to pay money to China for shipping his product to Amazon warehouse in US. It is again a tedious process for seller, because these transactions include huge paperwork and etc. Because of strict policies of Pakistan regarding outgoing money without knowing its return. Anyhow, a digital financial system and digital currency can bring ease in doing such international businesses and sell one's services in international market. Thank you.
COVID-19 changes the world financial order. America has dominated the global finance since the end of Second World War when the current system was built. But the economic disaster caused by coronavirus pandemic could signal a new chapter in financial history with American leadership called into question. COVID-19 has shown that America is failing to sort out of its own affairs at home, let alone provided global leadership. The crisis has provided China an opportunity to show what it's capable of doing, which in the long run will tip the balance of power. America controls the world financial plumbing and account for almost quarter of world economy. The dollar makes up the central bank reserve and is currency for international trade. 80% of global supply chains use dollars, which gives America significant power. Whoever controls the flow of money at the end of the day control the economy. China hopes to correct this imbalance. There is growing call for international community for reforming the global economic governance system. China is the world's second largest economy with an enormous number of banks and is growing fairly from the last 10 years. While in America, bank assets have remained relatively stable, with European bank assets failing. Chinese banks has more assets than American European banks, but Chinese banks account for only 70% of cross-border lending. So these banks has not influence within the world financial system, but these banks are becoming more active at overseas. Its companies are globalizing. China is also giving its currency a prominent role in commodities market. The COVID-19 pandemic could also increase China's financial influence. China is now sharing its influence with the rest of the world and provided much needed supplies. Following the outbreak in Wuhan, China has positioned itself as a global leader containing the outbreak, agreeing to deal to suspend repayment of its loans. The COVID crisis has cast a negative shadow on capacity of leadership of America. This could provide an opportunity for China to fill the vacuum created by American global leadership. China's tough response to the crisis and the growing size and the depth of its financial markets have helped convince investors it's a safe bet, even as COVID sent other markets crashing. While emerging markets saw the value of bond plummets earlier this year, Chinese government bond remained stable. COVID provided the first test that this bonds market could resist a crisis in a way a typical emerging markets bond don't. It shows investor trust in China as an economy. They don't think it's going to collapse overnight. China hopes to increase its hold. China hopes to increase its hold over how money moves around the world. America has influence over the current system because of SWIFT, the world's largest network for transforming money. Its transactions are in dollars and is routed through New York. America can also threaten SWIFT through transactions if SWIFT does not do what America wants, which is very upsetting for its allies. China cannot challenge SWIFT dominance. Instead, Chinese companies are targeting a different part of financial system, the way in which consumers spend their money. Instead of paying by hands or card, Chinese tech companies have developed a series of apps which disrupts the system in which consumers load money into digital wallets. Consumers can do anything, buy anything without any of this money flowing through the banks, creating a parallel financial ecosystem. It changes the way the money moves around the world. Two main Chinese companies offering its Tencent and Ant Financial with billions of users each. COVID-19 increases their reach. People are doing everything online trying to stay away from cash. China is creating a system that is not reliant on American norms, companies and standards. If the both of the systems do not work mutually, it will harder to move money around the world.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, my name is Moaz Manzoor. The topic of my presentation is Pakistan ready for new digital economic system? In the world, the payment landscape has changed vastly and we are looking at many more companies providing various modes of digital payment. The number of non-cash transactions in the Asian region is expected to hit $276.8 billion by 2020 according to the recent World Payment Report. Pakistan has also put forth its first major digital policy aimed toward creating more job opportunities and accelerating economic growth as smartphone penetration in Pakistan has increased and e-commerce is projected to be worth $1 billion by 2020. The role of digital payment method is expected to increase immensely. The first mobile point of sale was launched with the collaboration of Habib Bank and Monat. Also, point of sale machines has gone up by 40,000 and the number of credit cards stands at 1.5 million and account for 64% of entire e-banking financial transaction. Interestingly, the volume of paper-based transaction has dropped by 0.12% in 2015. The e-banking financial transaction have seen a considerable rise in the last 5 years according to State Bank of Pakistan as the volume of e-banking has increased from 22.1 trillion to rupees 35.8 trillion. The digital finance potential of Pakistan is projected at about $36 billion by 2025. In the context of end-to-end digitization for Pakistan, cash remain a major hurdle in the marketplace. It is reported that more than 90% of e-commerce purchase still paid through cash upon delivery. For that, Italian or Microfinance Bank is now serving more than 20 million active customers through Easy Paisa. It is recognized as a model for expanding access to financial services and is one of the best known digital finance brand. In 2015, EasyPaisa launched its online payment gateway along e-commerce platform to accept digital payments like money transfer, pay bill, bank transfer. In 2016, Jazz Cash also launched its own payment gateway with innovative features. To address the inherent lack of trust in online payments, EasyPaisa launched buyer protection program in which a buyer is guaranteed a refund if their merchant fails to deliver the goods. Similarly, JazzCash also followed such step aimed to build a safety and trust in the customer, encouraging them to transact online. In Pakistan, digital payment would lead to more money in the formal banking system as it is convenient, secure and fast documented transaction for customer. Besides many advantages coming with it, there are also few challenges and issues with digital payments in country like Pakistan. In country like Pakistan, cybersecurity remain a key focus area of the central bank as keeping the system protected from cyber attack is a major challenge. So it is crucial for Pakistan to have digital payment system with foolproof security. Other issues related to internet connectivity, power infrastructure, digital payment setups and lack of necessity insight among wider society can constrain the outreach of digital transactions. So cash is not an option but a necessity for a major chunk of world population as only 21% of Pakistanis have access to formal financial services. Pakistan is long way to go, but the future of business in Pakistan is based on digital, mobile, and online payment process. The advantages of this trend are vast and compounding with digital payment. The pros and cons and the benefit of going cashless can be summarized plenty, like no cash handling fees from the bank, no trip to the bank to pay it, hence quicker transaction, better for the retailer and the customer. And in 15 to 20 years, we will see a new digital financial system in Pakistan.
Assalamu alaikum, I am Inamullah and I will be concluding our group presentation with these two important questions which arises in everybody's mind, and those two questions are: is the world economic system possible and will it be sustainable or not? There are some points or reasons which are paving the path for this shift or change in the economic system, which are the work from home revolution. Now, for example, taking the example of this, in a recent research, it was found that 1.2 billion people every day use for at least 1 hour the Zoom app, and that is for office meeting, jobs, are taking the online classes. So that is a big revolution. And the second reason which is paying the path for this shift we are, or which can make the pave the path for this shift, is the collapsed overnight. Now, for example, only in USA 6.5 million people lost their jobs in this recent corona pandemic. So now, due to these, the investors, they don't trust, they fear to invest. And one of the most important factor which is playing a big role in the shift of this economic system is the war between two big economies, China and USA. Once the power is shifted, then it's quite possible that in the meantime the economic system is also shifted from the current economic system to the digital economic system. So this was the end of our presentation. The questions are welcome if any. Thank you.